And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Praga, and that's about the extent I'm going to pronounce of this name. But Vladimir Suchy is the designer of this, and he has designed some of my favorite games. I really like Shipyard and Underwater Cities and things like that. So this is the game, his big game from 2019, about building up the city here, and it is a full-on game with many different options and opportunities. So let's take a brief overview of what the game's about, and I'll tell you what I thought. There's a lot of things going on in this game, and I want to say right now, do not use this as a way to play the game. I just want to give you a basic overview. There's a big board here, although you'll be surprised that you don't use as much of it as you think over the course of the game. The main focus is going to be this action wheel over here. The action wheel has a bunch of tiles in it, and actually you can flip them over and use a different set if you want to. But the way the game works is, on a player's turn, they're going to pick one of these tiles. Now, depending on where the tiles are, they may have to pay money to take the tile. These are free. And if it's over here in this spot, you actually will get victory points when you take the tiles over there. So when you take the tile, there's a couple things. You may have to pay a cost. There are 2 actions on a tile. You're going to take one of those 2 actions. You will also get a bonus connected to where the tile is. Sometimes the bonus is simple. Take 2 stone. Sometimes the bonus lets you do a better action with that tile. Take a special tile. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But whatever the bonus is, at the end of your turn, you're going to rotate this, and you'll be putting the tile back into the grid, but you'll be rotating it, and you'll notice there's this cube here. At some point, this cube is going to fall. It's going to kind of lock this thing into place. That's just a way to let you know that, hey, we've done a rotation. We move this here farther down the track to ending the game, and then we put the cube back, and we keep going until it falls in the hole again. It's kind of just a way, it's a visual way. And at some point, it will be over, and there's a little chart here even next to the board that shows you how many turns you have left when you get to the final round of the game. So, like I said, when you take one of these, you have 2 different actions with it. These actions correspond to your board. Here are the 6 different actions, and here's a board where players are going to keep track of their resources, gold and stone. They also have a technology track, another track that it can score you points at the end of the game. So some of the actions are pretty simple. These 2 actions are basically the same. When you take these, you can either increase the number of mines that you have, so gold mines or ore mines. You're just going to move this over 1 and then take 1 stone or 1 gold, depending on which action you pick. Or you can take stone equal to the number of mines you have. And this is going to be over here, how many? So here I'm going to get 3. But the farther over I move this, when I take that action, I can instead just get a whole pile of stone. And also I get to move up on this track as I move these over, and I'll get an egg. So the farther over you move this, the better you make the action worth, but you have to take that action a bunch of times just taking 1. Also, remember that cube in the track that moved? This has a very similar effect. When you get 5, if you go to 6 gold, this cube here stops your dial, and that's just a way to let you know that you're going to move up on the technology track here. And then if one of your things gets all the way down here, you're also going to get a little gold window, which is a bonus you can use for other things. You can't have more than 9 of either resource, but this just keeps track of your gold and your stone. So that's 2 of the actions. 3 of the actions are going to let you build tiles. One of them is going to let you build houses. This one's going to let you build a castle. And this lets you upgrade your actions. We'll talk about upgrading your actions first. This one's pretty simple. Whenever you upgrade actions, you're going to pick from the ones here next to the board. Upgrading actions is here. Building the castles and the cities are here, and you'll notice these have costs on them. The castle pieces cost you in stone, and the city pieces cost gold, although this one also costs a stone. The action tiles are pretty much free, but there's one here at the end of each of these that is special, and you can only do that if you got the special bonus when you took your tile. So otherwise you can't take that. These come from a different pile when you replenish them, and they're slightly better. When you take one of these, you're simply going to take one of your actions and make it better. So for example here, this would upgrade my stone action. So I can take this action or this action, but no matter what I do, I'm going to get a victory point and a stone. And you'll also notice there's a little outside thing here that shows a cross. That cross matters because, like I said, when you do this, you're going to be placing that here to show the upgraded action. But when you build castle pieces, they're going to be placed on the outside too, and having little connections of crosses there can give you some bonuses. Building the castles will give you an immediate benefit, and this one gives you 2 points, but also you will be trying to connect different icons on the outside. Whenever you connect these, and there's also ways to connect other pieces that give you things, you can take these bonus tokens, and these are going to be worth extra points at the end of the game. But how much are they worth? Well, that depends on another facet of the game. Over here you have a track, and these are three-dimensional buildings. I'm going to take these three-dimensional buildings off because these are both printed on the board, and it's a little easier for you to see just by showing what's on the board. Everything on this castle piece is also on the board. But each player has a cube that starts in the corner here. And when you get these symbols, you're going to be able to move in this direction. And then you can pay windows, double silver windows, to move up. When you move on some spaces, you'll get bonuses. Like this one here gives you 2 points. If you land on this one, you immediately move up. If you land on this one, you immediately move over. And at the end of the game, you're going to get points depending on how high up here you are. But also, as you move over, you're making the tokens worth something. So this would make the red tokens worth 3 points that I'm here. And if I move this one over, this will make the blue ones worth, let's say it's in this column, 2 points. So this is a constant thing that you're doing. You're going to be other actions and things will allow you to move these tokens up. Obviously, getting them up here in the top corners will get you a lot of points depending on which ones that you moved. Building buildings is going to let you get some immediate benefits here. They cost money, but they'll give you some immediate benefits, and many of them also, whenever you get one, you'll be placing them on the board. You'll be putting one of your cubes on to show that it's yours many times. You can get bonuses for surrounding things that are already on the board, and also if you connect these with the other axes here, that will make those worth, you'll get those tokens, which again, as I pointed out, are worth things at the end of the game. If you build above this castle wall here, they're going to cost more. There's an extra cost to place the buildings, but when you place them there, you'll get extra points. And then finally, the last action that a player has is move on down the road. So when you do that, you simply will move to the next spot on this road here. There are some benefits that are printed here. You'll always get one. The other one, you'll have to discard an egg to get it, and there are different ways to get eggs. When you get all the way to this bridge down here, you'll be able to put a tile here. You'll get the bonuses that you put the tile on top of, as well as the tile. If you get all the way, you get these gold tiles, many of them, which will give you victory points at the end of the game. There are other bonuses that you'll be able to get at the end of the game if you go to there. And there's a lot of different end game scoring, so much so that there's a little sheet dedicated to it. Now I know that that's just a big overview of the game, folks, but hopefully that gives you some idea of how it plays. This is a very busy looking board. I really wish they had put a 50% just an overlay on it, just to make it a little easier to see the symbols here, especially in the city. That is just it's colorful. I don't mind how it looks, but it's really hard to see stuff on it. Now, let's talk about good. These dual layered boards are fantastic. I like how you have the cubes in them. You're moving up on these tracks trying to get points. I like the cubes stopping your wheel from turning, reminding you that you get a bonus. This tells you get the gold window. And by the way, gold windows along with a silver window will give you an extra turn, an extra action. 2 silver windows let you move up on the thing. But I like this concept too. Either take the resources or make it so you get more resources in the future turn. This board works really well. The tiles are pretty well too. There's also, I didn't mention, there's these technology tiles that you can have, and you'll get these as you move up the technology track, and these basically give you, hey, when you take a certain action or do something, whatever it is, here whenever I move up on that castle track thing, I get extra points. And so that's kind of cool to get those, and everything works pretty well except Not a big fan of these three-dimensional pieces. It actually comes with a sheet that shows you how to build all of them. But as you saw, I took these 3D pieces off the board so that we could see the board better. And that's how the game works too. It might be easy for the person who's sitting right in front of it to see it, but you're going to have a little bit of this. And yes, visually it's neat to see that you're going up, but I don't see what the point of these are. Not to mention, and this is a really annoying thing, they don't fit in a box. You have to take this piece off to fit them in the box. It's not a huge deal, but I would like to glue them together. In fact, you have to glue the bridge together or it will fall apart. My bridge is glued so that it stays together. This is the kind of thing that I mean, it's neat, but I would have cut this because it's just not worth it. The wheel, fantastic. Remembering what the different symbols do, it's not that difficult. I personally prefer the B side here because they have different combinations. There's a lot of symbology in this game, and it's, some getting used to. But I think as it goes by, that's not a problem I had with the game at all, understanding it. That came out pretty clearly. My only real problem is with these three-dimensional things. And they also had them so you could there's also a whole pile of boards like, hey, you can change up how these look and put new ones on them. And to that end, I think, okay, that's cool, but that's randomness. I feel like the game already has a great amount of depth, and changing these out to put new ones in seems like more work than it's worth. When we were done with the first time we played this, somebody said, this is the most Euro game of all Euro games. I went online and found that someone had made almost the same comment, and that's true. There is essentially no theme in this game. Yes, I did learn that egg yolks were used in Foundation. Okay, that's cool, and that explained because I was very curious why we were using eggs as a resource, and there's some of that explanation in the book. And yeah, I get maybe you're building a wall around your thing, but it's just your typical do various actions to get points. That's not a bad thing. In fact, it's something I like in games, and I like in this one. My favorite thing in this game by far is that wheel. Now, the wheel's not as intriguing as a concept as I thought it might be. Like, ooh, there's some that cost you coins to take. But I found that usually of the two tiles that were not in the costing coins was one that I wanted. But sometimes a tile no one takes and it moves around and becomes worth points. And you have to be careful because you sit there and go, I don't really want to take one of those two actions, but if I don't, I'm giving 5 points to the next player. And then the bonus that's inside connected to that action really matters. So that whole thing, while there was aspects of it that did not play out the way I thought they would, that's my favorite part of the game. I really like that concept, that and coupled with you can make your actions better. That's solid, that works really well. I'll sit there and go, ooh, I'll make this action better. Now I want to take that action as much as possible. This game, like many games of its ilk, does do the whole thing where, oh, yeah, this action goes into this action, and this one goes to this one. Like getting the little cross red tokens. You can get a whole pile of them, but it's a different action that will move your piece that makes them worth anything. And the same thing with the blue tokens. Moving down the road is a pretty solid thing to do, but if you do that, you're not upgrading your actions. Now, some actions feel less impressive than others, notably getting stone and gold. And there definitely are times in this game where I'm like, my turn. I'm going to take 4 stone. I'm done. Your turn. Well, I'm going to build a building, I think, and I'm going to put that building here and do that. And it feels like that turn, and I'm like, oh, all I did was take 4 stone. And so there can be that change there, and the game can be fairly lengthy because your number of choices is amazing. You can always take all 6 actions, well, provided you have a couple coins to spend. You can always take all the actions. Each action has multiple things. If you are, for example, building a wall around your area or building a building, you have 3 or 4. If you do pick the building, you now have 30 different spots to put that building in. If you pick a wall, you have various spots to put that. And then do you spend your windows to take an extra action, or do you spend it to move up on the track? You move down the road. Which of the actions are you going to take? There is just choice upon choice upon choice upon choice. You get the technology. Which technology am I going to add? And so this game definitely will lend itself to analysis paralysis if people are going to sit there and think about what they want to do. All of this comes together in some interesting ways. I'll say that my first game, I had no idea how endgame scoring was. When I got to the end, I was like, what's going to happen? Going through again, still not sure exactly. I mean, I understand endgame scoring, but what I mean is I can't really tell who's winning, who's doing well over the course of a game. And maybe that's not a bad thing, but just if you ask me right now, like, what are the good strategies for this game, I'd be like, well, I think some of everything, but I really think you need to concentrate on something, but which one is the best? I don't know. That's good. That means there's a lot of depth to this game. There's a lot of good things in it. Now, I'm not giving this extremely high ratings, and I'll tell you why. I think the board is busy. I think the moving the little things up the steps, that seemed more interesting than it was. Even moving down the road didn't seem that interesting. I thought those things detracted a little bit for me. And it really is spreadsheet the game. But those are my negatives. But my positives, the fun of picking your action on that wheel and upgrading those actions. I like the resource management. I like spinning the dials. I like getting technologies. I like having things that other people didn't have. And I like how everything worked together. So I think this is a solid, good game that some people are going to rave about. And some people would hate the very sight of playing it. I'm in neither group. I think it's fun. It's good. I enjoy it a lot, actually. But I don't know that I would pick it over, let's say, his last game, Underwater Cities, where that one felt fresh and innovative. This one feels good, and the wheel's innovative, and that's like my favorite part of the game. And the rest of the game, I go, that's pretty good too. Let's go back to that wheel part. And that's what I think of Praga. But like I said, there's a lot of people out there who really love the game. I think it's a lot of fun. If you're looking for theme, you might want to look elsewhere. But if you're looking for a game that you can have a lot of replayability in, I mean a ton. Like I mentioned, there's those random, you can randomize the bridge or randomize the castles and how the pieces go out at random and then order the tiles come out. I mean, you'll never play the same game of this twice. So if you're looking for a lot of replayability in a heavier type Euro game, then Praga's for you. I like it. Check it out. I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching the Dice Tower. Dice Tower judgment approved.